So in this video, I'm going to take you through the best cashback credit and debit cards here in the UK. And specifically here, when I say cashback, I mean just cards that will pay you actual money to your account for you to spend as you wish. So I'll do another video at a later date which looks at reward cards, which will earn you points that can be converted into gift vouchers or Nectar points or airline points or things like that, okay? Or even specific supermarket vouchers. This is ones that give you spend however you want. So it's a smallish list, but it's worth going through them. And at the top of the list, number one, it's a debit card, and this is a debit card from Chase Bank. I've spoken about this one a number of times because since it launched about 18 months ago, it has been my go-to cashback card. It will pay you 1% on the bulk of your spending. There are a handful of restrictions, and you'll find this with all these kind of cards, but you won't be able to get money back, for example, with Chase if you were to buy a car, pay your tax bill, anything sort of financial, that's kind of ruled out. But your normal everyday spending, 1% back. As I detailed in a recent video, there have been some changes to how this works. You'll now only get a maximum of £15 cash back every single month. And also to be eligible for that, you have to pay £500 into the account the month before you want to earn this. Now, there will be a few different rules going on for different people. If you're an existing customer, that's already in play. Now, if you're a new customer, you might get 12 months where you don't have to worry about putting in that money beforehand. And if you're someone who's kind of not at the end of your initial 12 months, then maybe you'll have a bit of this coming in here and there. So just keep an eye on your communication from Chase to know exactly what ones apply to you. But still, 1% back. And £15 cap is going to be enough for most people. Now, there is another debit card, which I don't think is really worth going for, but I'll tell you about it just in case it works for you. And this is from Santander. This is the Santander Edge current account. The debit card that comes with this will pay you 1% back on your spending at the supermarket and on commuting costs. So we're talking here about petrol, buses, trains, things like that. It's not all travel, so it won't give you money back for airlines or hotels or anything like that. It's very specific around commuting costs. Now, what is different about this one, apart from the fact that you can get that same 1% on more spending with Chase or some of the other cards I'm going to talk about later on will also give you money back on those. But also this one comes with a fee every single month, a £3 fee every month. Now, that's not just going to give you access to this debit card cashback. There are other cashback on your bills you can get, plus you can get interest of up to 4% with the account. Again, I don't really think it's worth most people going for, but do check out my separate review looking at the Santander Edge versus the other Santander 123 account to see whether it's something you might want to consider for those other reasons. And if you've got it, then maybe it's worth having it in your wallet if you have used up, for example, that £15 every single month with Chase. I should say this one is capped at £10 every single month for that cashback on debit card spending. There are occasionally other deals that come along where cards will give you a cashback at certain places for a short amount of time. I'm not covering them here because they come and go. These are just cards which will give you ongoing cashback. So they're your two debit card options. And I generally think the Chase one, for most people, it's all you need out of for the bulk of your spending. But there will be occasions when a cashback credit card can be useful, even if it pays a lower rate. And that's because when you are abroad, sometimes you might need to put something on a credit card, like a car hire deposit or the incidentals at a hotel. So you want to have a credit card for those kind of things. And obviously you want one that's fee-free. We'll come back to that in a minute. But perhaps more important than that is if you spend more than £100 on a credit card, on a single item, you get added consumer protection under something called Section 75 of the Consumer Credit Act. And that means if something goes wrong with the item or the service that you've paid for, then the credit card company is legally liable in the same way as the retailer or the manufacturer to help to compensate you if you don't get it or it breaks or whatever might happen like that. So sometimes you might have stuff that even if the rate is lower than 1%, you want to put it on a credit card, just give you that extra protection. So I'll take you through some of those best cashback credit cards. As I say, there may be, in fact there are. In my video at the start of the year, when I looked at the best credit cards, I already give you an idea of some of the best paying reward cards. Generally, you have to convert points, either Nectar points or Avios points or Amex reward points into Nectar points and use them at Sainsbury's, Argos, eBay, which are not going to be great for everyone, but that's the ones where you might get a higher rate that I'm going to tell you about. But the highest paying generic one, so not merchant specific, generic one is the American Express Cashback credit card, Platinum Cashback credit card. This one has a tiered level of cashback. For the first £10,000 you spend, you'll earn 0.75%. So lower, obviously, than you'll get with the Chase card. But if you spend more than 10 grand in a year, it goes up to 1.25%. So again, the difficulty here is if you are doing most of your spending on the Chase card to get that 1% all the time, it might make it harder or even less likely for you to actually get past that 10k limit. So I would say this one's a good one to have if you want to make sure you do earn, say, cashback rather than rewards, money you can spend however you wish. 0.75 is not a bad rate. It's better than the other ones we're going to get to in a minute because it will count for all of your spending. Now, a couple of things you need to know about here. It does come with a £25 annual fee. In the first year, you can cancel that out via applying via a cashback site like Quidco Top Cashback or via refer a friend link. You'll normally get 20 to 30 quid back as an extra when you do that. So that's a nice little way for the first year. You don't really have to factor in that fee. But after that, you will, and that obviously will reduce how much you earn. So this might be a card you get just for a year. The other important thing to talk about here is that the cashback is paid at the end of the year, once 12 months is up. In fact, we paid just after the year. So this might be one you have to wait for that money to come through. There are welcome bonuses, obviously, that come with all the American Express credit cards that do vary. This one, if you've not had an American Express card in your name in the last 2 years, is 5% for the first 3 months on up to 2.5 grand spent. So that could be worth 125 quid. So that's a great way to earn a little bit of cash from there onwards. And if you have got this card, as I talk about in another video, you would be eligible subsequently to get welcome bonuses on a couple of different Amex cards, the BA Premium Plus and the American Express Platinum credit card, although they are quite expensive, those ones, so they won't be for everyone, but it's a good one to have if you want to ensure you can get those bonuses later on. Now, there is another American Express cashback credit card, the American Express Platinum Cashback Everyday card, which pays less every month, every time you spend, but there is no fee. Now, this one drops down to 0.5% on the first 10 grand and goes up to 1% above that. So again, you will be earning less, but you won't have that fee. However, you have to spend at least 3 grand on this card to trigger that cashback, again, at the end of the year. The other card doesn't have this requirement. So you've got to be sure you are going to spend at least £3,000 on this card over a year. Otherwise, you will earn nothing at all. You might feel that that's a good card to have as your backup to the Chase card. And if you're confident you'll spend that 3 grand because you won't have that fee, at least from year 2 onwards. Personally, I would rather go with one of the reward cards. But again, we're talking here about cashback cards. Now, that's American Express. They're the only ones that give you cashback. There aren't many Visa cashback credit cards. In fact, there's only really one of note to tell you about. This is the Barclaycard Rewards credit card. This one will pay you 0.25%, so a far cry from all the cards I've told you about just now, but it will be accepted everywhere. Sometimes, you obviously with American Express, you might find retailers that don't accept it, or the big places will, but more smaller shops, depending where you are in the country, you might have an issue. So this could be seen as a good backup if you want to have a card, a Visa card that will earn you money. The reason I like this card, the why it is probably my second pick after the Chase card, while I have this one in my wallet alongside an Amex of some type, is the fact this one is fee-free to use overseas. I mentioned that when you're on holiday, you've got to put a credit card down for car hire or for hotels, or you want to buy something potentially and get that consumer protection, then that is a great way to earn cash back and not get hit by any charges. It's the only fee-free cashback credit card that you can use overseas. Chase, incidentally, you can use that one overseas as well, but it doesn't have that Section 75 protection. That's the only Visa one. Now, when it comes to Mastercard, there are only really 3 cashback credit cards of note to tell you about, because all the others are linked to a particular retailer, and actually they're reward cards, so your own points, which will give you vouchers to use at those retailers, those supermarkets, whatever it might be. So I'll talk about them in a separate rewards video at some point. Cashback itself, cashback is paid into your account. I say only 3 ones really that are worth telling you about. There's a Santander all-in-one credit card, and this one has a £36 annual fee. I don't think it's worth it, okay? I'm not even going to tell you about it. There's no point paying for the cashback you get on that. There may be a few other benefits here or there, but you can beat them in the other ones elsewhere. So don't bother with that. The other 2, again, I personally probably wouldn't bother, but you might be worth looking at them depending on how you spend. So I say there's 3 cards. There's actually slightly different, because one of these cards you can get from 2 providers and the other cards you can get from 2 providers, but they're effectively the same thing depending who you get it from. So first of all, we have the RBS or NatWest. Doesn't matter which one, they're the same card. RBS NatWest Reward Credit Card. This one also has a monthly fee, £2 every single month or £24 for the year. But if you have a NatWest or RBS reward current account, then that fee is wiped out. Again, a whole load of things going on with those banks worth why you might want to get one of those. Bank switching offers, monthly rewards, access to a regular saver, which is pretty good. So again, I don't think it's a problem doing that and getting one of those current accounts. And if you've got one, you think, well, why don't I get this credit card if it's going to be free because the fee is avoided? Well, you get 1% back at the supermarket, which is not a bad rate. 1% that's up there with Chase, but that's only at the supermarket. Elsewhere, it drops down to 0.25%. My take on this is, if you've got a Chase card already, assuming you have, why would you need a credit card for the supermarket that gives you the same rate? You're not really going to, maybe you'll buy something you want consumer protection from, but it's unlikely we spend more than £100 on a single item at the supermarket. Maybe a bit of tech. But broadly speaking, I don't see what the point of that is when you can get it elsewhere or at a different reward card or whatever it might be. The other sort of thing to bear in mind here as well, that 0.25% spending elsewhere, again, you can beat that with your Chase, or if you've got the Amex Platinum card or a different card. So again, it's not really going to make you enough money. So I personally, again, wouldn't bother with this one. The other one I'm talking about here is from Halifax or Lloyds. So again, it's the same card, but you can get it from either provider. And this is their cashback credit card. It's a little bit more interesting, but again, personally, I wouldn't go for it. But this one will earn you, for the first £4,000 you spend in a calendar year, 0.25%. So that much the same as the Barclaycard Reward, same as all the others, big hurrah. However, spending above £4,000 in a calendar year, you'll be earning 0.5%, making it one of the better non-Amex credit cards for cash straight back to your account. In fact, it's one of the better cards all round that will give you, again, the others were related particularly to supermarkets or particular retailers. My problem with this is, if you are doing most of your spending on the Chase debit card or the American Express cashback credit card, or potentially one of the reward cards we're not covering in this video, then it's very unlikely that you're going to need to spend $4,000 on a different card. Because, because it's really effectively, if somewhere you're going to, it's a big purchase and they don't take Amex, that's the only time you're going to do it, or a number of big purchases to get to $4,000. And then you've got to spend more than that to get that extra rate. But again, you're probably still going to be able to get a better rate with those other cards. So again, I wouldn't worry too much about this. And that's fundamentally it. They are the only real cashback cards that you can get here in the UK. As I say, I'll do another video looking at reward cards later on. A quick spoiler here, if you do want to find out about some of those other cards now, I have got an article over on the blog, becleveryourcash.com. We just look at all of the best credit cards, plus that video I mentioned at the start of the year, best credit cards for 2023. That will take you through some different options. Potentially, say if you're willing to convert Amex points or Avios points into Nectar points, you potentially can, or earn Nectar points themselves, then you can be getting 1% from other American Express cards as well, which will make it on a par more or less with that Chase card. So they're probably realistically your best bets. Chase and Amex card of some kind, whether the cashback card I mentioned or a reward card, that Barclaycard rewards credit card. They're the three cards I would look to have in my wallet to be earning as I spend. My name is Andy Webb. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which cards you use to earn money in the comments below, and check out these videos right here for more ways to make money from your bank.